we can't speculate as to whether this was or was not something, you know, some kind of man-made fire or a natural fire. We can't speculate. The fact is, though, we do have the right to know what caused it, and now they have botched the possibility of having an investigation that would determine that definitively.
When was
we would like to know, we want to know who ordered this demolition.
Exactly.
Who was working with the city of Minneapolis on Memorial Day to order this demolition at 7 in the morning on a holiday? Who was in such a hurry to get this done that they could order a demolition, but they couldn't order the erection of a support structure so that this church could be investigated? Who placed that order?
Have you tried to find out who?
We have been trying to find out. It's not clear to us, but it does seem highly likely that the fire chief is responsible, because after all, no building is going to get knocked down after a fire without the word of the fire chief. It does seem logical to us that that's where the word came from. And if that's the case, you know, the city acted in a reckless manner, you know, probably intentionally or possibly intentionally, you know, preventing us from going forward with an investigation, either that one that they did or one that we can hire our own experts and get done. You know, they precluded all possibility of that by their reckless, you know, actions and their lack of consideration and appropriate securing of the space.
Michelle, tell me what types of files were destroyed from your office in there. I understand you guys had built up a backlog, an archive of files. What kind of things?
We have extensive losses of telephone calls to our hotline over several years. We also lost plate data. We lost, just our history, our whole history. There are many awards, there are many newspaper articles. We had awards on the wall that were burned, or photographs, extensive photographs, you know, including photographs of people's injuries after police brutality, things like that. Lots of file data was unfortunately lost. We also lost 3 hard drives that contained the film footage of the RNC, the street cameras in St. Paul's and in the RNC. We battled the city of St. Paul for 8 months to get that footage. We paid a large amount of money to get that footage, and those 3 hard drives unfortunately were destroyed in the fire, and that footage is gone.
Also, some of the information in your office part of an ongoing investigation?
Yes, absolutely. Now, some of that newer data, luckily, was backed up. You know, we had other sources for that newer data, but some of that very much was. We also lost all of our teaching materials. We do an extensive amount of teaching in the community, you know your rights trainings and other teaching to help people stay safe when they have encounters with the police, and for the police to stay safe and feel safe. And we lost all of that training material. We lost, everything that provides the infrastructure for the work that we do. And so, yes, we lost a lot of things, and including, as you said, materials that would contribute to an ongoing investigation.
When was the gas?
The gas incident was in March, is what I recollect.
Yeah,
I don't recall the exact date, but we got a call that asking, Walker was doing their own investigation as to, the groups in there and who was there, and what they found out is there was nobody had even used the oven or the burners. They had a huge industrial building with numerous burners and 2 ovens, and all of those were turned on pumping gas into the church, which sounds very suspicious to me. And so they had all of the locks changed. We secured everything so that there were less keys available. We, went through the church to make sure there was nobody left behind when we would have meetings at night and stuff like that. That was in recent history.
And I should mention that the Minneapolis Police Department treated it like a potential arson, and took police reports and again investigated as if it was a potential arson incident. And so here's something that happens just 2 months before this fire, and yet there's no investigation. The potential for having an investigation is immediately eliminated by knocking the building down. That's outrageous. Of course it's outrageous.
Has there been a conclusion from that investigation?
I don't believe that there had been a conclusion. I think it was really more a documentation. I think, there was never a way to show how that happened. But it was very, very scary incident. And then 2 months later, we have this other incident. And it just seems inconceivable to me that the fire chief or whoever ordered the demolition of this building would do so, knowing that history and knowing that, you know, you can't, and knowing, you know, the controversial nature of the groups that went through in the space, you can't just say, oh, well, you know, hopefully it was lightning, but we don't really know. You know, you can't just check it out.
So what's next for your organization? Where do you go from here? Have you already sought new office space, ways to rebuild?
We are going to rebuild without question because the need for our organization in this community is acute, and people are letting us know that every day. They're contacting us. We've had a tremendous outreach from the community around all of our organizations, you know, with people coming forward with all kinds of offers of office space, furniture, computers, all the kind of infrastructure things that you need. Our organization meets tomorrow to go through some of those different offers that are coming forward. We need a little reorganization time. We'll be meeting for the next 5 weeks at least in public libraries, just to kind of get us through this. But we are looking for a long-term solution because we need stability to be able to do our work. You know.
What about the Welfare Rights Committee?
Well, Welfare Rights Committee, we're not missing a step in the work that we're doing because the attacks coming down on poor families are not, you know, they're not holding up for this fire, so we're not going to either. You know, we really started 20 years ago as an organization without a home, and, you know, we'll temporarily be without a home, and that's fine. We can do that. Again, the biggest loss to us is that history, but we will be continuing to do all of the work that we do, and without halting anything at all. And in the meantime, we'll be looking for a new place. I mean, our groups are already talking about trying to maybe stick together, because that's the other thing is that we're so, you know, we also share just so deeply in the loss to this community of the church and to the movement as a whole. This church was instrumental to the movement. This church provided a sanctuary for the movement, for every organization in this city or in the Twin Cities could use this church as a place to gather, to meet, to organize, to strategize, and that loss, we have to mention that too. I mean, that loss is just huge, and we all share in the loss of the congregation, in the community, and the movement as a whole. Really, the outpouring of, you know, grief over the loss of the church has been seen. So the Welfare Rights will keep moving forward. But we really want a chance to regain our history, and we want the city to come forward immediately to make that happen.
What other groups have been using before?
Occupy, Minneapolis Committee to Stop FBI Repression has been using it since the raids 2 years ago. The first emergency meeting was in the sanctuary of Walker Church, where 200 people came, and the committee to Stop FBI Repression has been meeting there ever since on an ongoing basis. People's Coalition for People's Bailout.
Yeah. I mean, everything from, you know, harpsichord groups and quilt groups to social justice organizations have met in this church. This church has such a rich history of supporting the community, and it's so important that, you know, and arts organizations, all kinds of things. Yes, and there was even even been for Ramadan by Muslim organizations who had their worship services here. So this has been, like I said, a very important part of the community in a way that makes us very sad to see it go. But more particularly, like I said, we want to, as social justice organizations that are just affected by the loss of our office and all of our possessions, we demand that we be able to secure whatever property is still salvageable, and we demand to know who ordered the demolition of this church. Yes, these are the two key demands that we want answers to right now.
Well, I mean, we're people too. You know, we lost the space of youth. It is really devastating. But we're people. We are organized wherever we can. We can organize in our homes. We can organize. We're going to be having meetings in libraries right now, and other spaces where they provide office space. But eventually, we need our own office again. But for the time being, we're going to continue doing the work we've been doing. Like I said, we can do that wherever. There's nothing that can stop us.
When you saw your office, was that after the fire was out?
I actually was not the person who was here. The person in question it was after the member of our organization was here after the fire was out, and he could see belongings that were easily salvageable.
So this was obviously before the demolition.
Exactly.
What time did the demolition take place?
Well, they arrived. Some of the demolition crews started arriving as early as 7 a.m. Then people were taking pictures and so forth up till about 8 a.m. And I believe they really started doing the demolition about 9:30.
Who was doing it?
It was a private company that was hired by the city. I came and showed them papers and tried to stop the demolition. And it was a company, I don't know how they pronounce the name, BCIC, and I asked them to order them to proceed with this demolition. And they stated that they had been ordered by the city to do the demolition. And then there were fire captains on the scene here, and I showed them as well, with documents demanding that they not demolish this building, and they went forward.
And my stage, AER.
So thanks very much.
Thank you for covering this.
Oh, sure.
This is, it's going to be an ongoing situation because